So a few months ago, after finishing up my review for the COROS Pace 2, which I loved by the way, I knew immediately that I wanted to try out COROS' much more expensive, much more feature-rich GPS watch, the VERTIC 2. At currently 3 times the price of the Pace 2, I was curious about the differences between the two and curious about what sort of features could justify the high cost. And the VERTIC 2 is certainly nicer in a lot of ways, from the improved larger screen, unbelievably long battery life, navigation features, touchscreen, HRV tracking, advanced GPS options, music playback, and more. And while I absolutely think it is the best watch COROS has put out, I am not quite sure it makes up for the hefty price tag, at least not for a lot of outdoor endurance enthusiasts. But for those who specialize in trail running, mountain biking, mountain climbing, or really anything dealing with a lot of elevation changes and navigation, it could certainly be worth it. And as I'll go over, there is a lot to love about this watch. And maybe it's because I had just reviewed the COROS Pace 2, which has so much value for the price, that I felt a little underwhelmed by the VERTIC 2 given its price point. Had this watch been for $500 instead of $700, I think the VERTIC 2 would have absolutely been a great value, but at nearly $700, it feels like a bit of a stretch, especially when some of the features like the limited music playback, lack of ANT Plus support, and some minor issues with the heart rate accuracy seem to set it back. Though with their frequent updates, user-friendly design, and really top-notch GPS accuracy, the VERTIC 2 is a solid watch. But whereas the COROS Pace 2 felt like a must-buy for any runner looking for a watch under $200, I think the VERTIC 2 has a lot more competition at $700, and at that price becomes one of several good options rather than a must-buy. Look, the COROS VERTIC 2 is a hefty, hardy watch meant to withstand some tough environments. With its 1.4-inch display and 72 to 89 grams of weight, it's definitely not as comfortable to wear all day, again compared to a lighter watch like the COROS Pace 2, which only weighs 29 grams. That said, the fit is pretty comfortable for its size, and once I got used to it, it didn't feel too large for everyday use. Though with its large size, I would occasionally find myself hitting the buttons on this side with my wrist, especially with exercises that require a lot of wrist extension, like biking or lifting weights. Although there is an easy fix to this, and that is to just move the buttons to the outside, and you can change the display settings in the menu to fix the screen's orientation. Now the COROS VERTIC 2 has 3 buttons, one of which is also a digital dial, and these buttons all have different functions depending on the screen, but it all feels fairly straightforward and was pretty easy to learn. I especially like the top button, which has a main function of turning on the backlight, but can be also used as a custom shortcut to bring you to a widget of your choice. For me, I would usually have it set to the music player. The screen also allows for some touch controls depending on what you are doing, and thankfully you can use that touch screen to swipe between metric screens during your workout rather than having to use the digital dial. The touch capability also makes it a lot easier to use the map and allows you to zoom in and out. Now the battery life of the COROS VERTIC 2 is incredible. With an estimated 60 days of regular use, I have yet to purposely charge it, though I did recharge it to 100% accidentally when I had it plugged into my computer to load some podcast files onto it. Now the VERTIC 2 includes several GPS options to choose from, which can increase or decrease the battery life. Most users will likely keep the GPS set to the suggested all systems on, which connects to 5 coordinate systems and will last you 90 hours. But those who are using the watch near a wall or certain structures, like when mountain climbing for example, may want to use the all systems plus dual frequency on mode, which only lasts 50 hours in order to get better vertical accuracy. And for those who prefer the longest battery life possible, you can select the less accurate Ultra Max GPS mode, which allows for 240 hours of battery life using GPS, though with a battery this big, I never felt the need to use that. Now, there are a variety of watch faces to choose from, and it all looks pretty good, even without the backlight on. And on the front screen, you can see the time, date, battery life, and can rotate through various metrics like your daily steps, calories burned, current heart rate, and others. You can use the digital dial here to scroll through running specific metrics like your running performance and recovery, as well as a variety of other widgets, including sleep tracking, altitude, barometric pressure, temperature, and a variety of others. Many of these also allow you to scroll through data taken over the past 6 to 18 hours, depending on the settings you have selected, and you also have the ability to edit which widgets you would like to see displayed and even their display order, which can really help the watch feel like it was built for you. Now, the COROS VERTIX 2 offers both map and route guidance. The map style can be set to landscape, topo, or a hybrid of the two, and the top of the watch can be set to the direction you are currently going or always set to north. When using the route feature during a workout, the VERTIX 2 will continue to alert you if you happen to deviate too far off course, and when that happens, you'll see some arrows on the map that'll help direct you back to the current route. You can also choose to have the VERTIX 2 direct you back to where you started, even when you're not following a pre-planned route, which can definitely be useful on some trails and make it really easy to head back to the start without having to constantly look at your watch and accidentally go off into some random direction. Now, during the workout, if you swipe up once on the map, you will see an overview of your route's elevation, which helps give you a sense of both where you are and what you can expect coming up. If you swipe up from here, you'll enter the first of up to 6 preset metric screens. In terms of accuracy for the GPS, this can be hard to fully determine given the number of possibilities in terms of terrain and length of use and verticality. But given my testing, which to be fair was a bit more limited this time around due to a recent ankle sprain, when compared to a few others like the Apple Watch or TicWatch Pro 3, the VERTIX 2 seemed to be the most accurate of the bunch. Now, while I found the GPS to be really solid, the heart rate accuracy left a little bit to be desired. I mean, for the most part, it was fairly dead on when compared to others, but there definitely were a handful of occasions where the accuracy would just suddenly fall off. And this likely could be due to the wrist placement, because if you have this watch anywhere near your wrist bones, you'll see the accuracy drop immediately and the heart rate drop lower. And while this didn't happen too often while running, it was very common while rowing, biking, or doing strength workouts. Now, one thing I did like about the VERTIX 2 is it is able to broadcast your heart rate to pretty much every device, and it was very reliable and stable in every single session I tried this with. So one of the standout features of the VERTIX 2 is for the ability for it to store and play music. It allows you to connect to your Bluetooth headphones, and since the files are located on the VERTIX 2 itself, it works just fine no matter where you are without needing to be connected to your phone or the internet. The problem here, though, is that given that there is no integration with music streaming services like Spotify or Apple Music, is that you have to provide your own MP3 files, which if you are like me, you don't have any. So instead of listening to music, I found it more practical to upload podcasts to listen to, since there is an easy way to get those in an MP3 format. You can check out my VERTIX 2 guide to learn how. And while this is a nice addition, it still probably isn't going to be exciting to most people who primarily use Spotify or Apple Music. Also, an unfortunate change to the VERTIX 2 over its predecessor is that it now only supports Bluetooth and no longer supports ANT Plus connections. While this wasn't really an issue for somebody like me, it probably will be for those of you who use ANT Plus supported accessories like specific heart rate monitors, or those who have invested into ANT Plus only power meters for your bike. Now, talking about sleep tracking, the COROS VERTIX 2 is able to track your sleep as well as show a breakdown of your light, deep, and REM sleep. The sleep tracking seems to work well in terms of determining when you sleep and when you wake up. And in terms of the accuracy of the light, deep, and REM sleep, well, most wearables are pretty far from accurate, and I wouldn't trust COROS to be any more accurate than any other, especially since it only tracks your heart rate once every 10 minutes when outside of a workout. The sleep tracking displayed here is going to be very questionable at best. Now, new to the VERTIX 2 is the capability to record and track your heart heart rate variability, or HRV. And HRV is a metric I value very highly to help determine my physical readiness and give me insight into what sort of adjustments I may want to make with my training plan. The HRV test here has to be done manually first thing in the morning, ideally before you get up, and it takes 60 seconds. And while this is very reasonable, it can be hard to remember, especially if you're used to other devices like Whoop, which automatically measure this while you are asleep. So many times I would just forget to take the HRV test until I got up, and then it was too late to get an accurate reading. So I sort of wish COROS would implement some sort of reminder system as soon as it registers that you woke up to take that HRV test first thing before you get up and start your day. Now with the VERTIX 2, there's been an expansion of the type of outdoor and workout options available. And with dozens of options to choose from, each with their own settings and specific metrics, there is something here for pretty much everyone. Each training mode can also be completely customized with up to 6 unique screens so that you can see whatever metrics that you would like to in your preferred layout. Now trail running is probably one of the best reasons to get the COROS VERTIX 2 over some of the lower cost options, again like the COROS Pace 2. If you're a trail runner or a hiker or a mountain climber or really anybody who deals with a lot of elevation, because not only do you have the navigation features here, but there are also improved GPS capabilities, including the dual frequency GPS, which can really help dial in your 3D distance or vertical distance that you travel, making the metrics of your workouts a lot more accurate. Now, if you choose regular run, it doesn't include this 3D distance, but your metrics are then able to be used for the EvoLab. The COROS EvoLab currently really can't use your trail runs because there are so many variables for the terrain that it would likely throw off its accuracy and predicting your future run paces. So you really only want to choose trail run mode when you're actually going to do a trail run. And of course, there's also an indoor run mode for treadmills, which can also send out the info to third parties like Zwift if you're into that. There's also track run mode, which I really like because this mode allows you to select exactly which lane you are running in. And this helps really dial in that GPS so that you get the most accurate split times when you're running intervals. And you can also mix in running with COROS's multi-sport mode, which allows you to mix and match up to 5 workout types. So similar to a triathlon mode, but you have all of the workout options available to you, which can be very useful, especially for those who like to mix things up. Maybe, for example, you do CrossFit, and in that example, it would be easy to set up a Murph workout here, so you would be able to analyze both of your runs outside of the middle body weight portion. Now, there also is a strength mode, which I feel is so close to being useful, but falls short just a little bit. Because you can write whatever workouts you want with the app, and they are displayed here for you to follow. And even without a plan, you're able to keep track of your reps and rest, as well as select the body part that you are focusing on for each movement. The issue really is that it relies on automatic rep tracking, which is almost never accurate, and there's no way that I've found to be able to adjust the reps after a set. And this seems like it should be a no-brainer to include here, but I guess not. And that, alongside no way to really be able to adjust the weights you're using as you go, it just feels like it's not quite there yet in order to be useful. I would still use it a lot of times just to keep track of my rest periods between sets, but I could also just do that with a stopwatch. Hopefully they can make some improvements to this down the road. Now, the included COROS app is a simple and useful companion to the VERTIX 2. Here you can dig into various daily metrics a lot more in depth than you can on the watch, and you can get further analysis on your running performance via COROS's EvoLab, which can give you estimated race times, splits, VO2 max, threshold pace, threshold heart rate, resting heart rate, in addition to a wide variety of other training and recovery metrics that you can pick through. Now, it can be a lot when you're just getting started, but if you take the time to read all of the details laid out by COROS, it's pretty easy to learn what's what so that the information can be useful to you. Here, you can also dig into additional metrics for completed workouts, including your adjusted pace, which is nice to look at, especially if you are a trail runner and dealing with a lot of elevation in your training. In terms of creating routes, there unfortunately is no ability to build routes on the COROS app itself, but luckily it is easy to pair COROS with third-party apps like Strava that you can create routes on and quickly send over to COROS and make available as an option to add on to your watch. You can have up to 10 routes on the VERTIX 2 at any one time and have pretty much unlimited routes on the app itself. Also within the app is a training calendar and workout builder to help you keep your workouts organized. The workout builder is fairly straightforward and easy to use, especially for running workouts. For strength workouts, it takes a bit more of an effort to build a full program here, but it's not too bad once you get used to it. But again, I'm not really sure it's even worth the effort, given that you can't adjust those weights or reps that you complete while you are taking the workout itself. And you can also share, download, and import workouts to the app easily via QR codes. COROS has a ton of pre-built training plans you can access and import from their website. And finally, the COROS app does allow further customization. The most useful customization, again, being able to create up to 6 metric screens for each workout type. There are also a variety of watch faces to choose from, and you can have up to 5 uploaded to the watch at any one time. Here, you can also choose to hide various widgets or workout types that you don't typically use, making navigation on the COROS VERTIX 2 a bit faster. So overall, you sort of have to evaluate your personal needs as well as the cost to determine if the VERTIX 2 is going to be a good fit for you. Ideally, if you deal with a lot of elevation in your training and you want a watch that is very accurate and whose battery life will last pretty much forever, and you don't mind paying a high price for that, then the VERTIX 2 is probably going to be a great option. Now, if you don't deal with elevation all of the time and are looking for something a bit more budget friendly, then I highly suggest checking out my review of the COROS Pace 2. This is Colin Jenkins with Connect the Watts. As always, appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.